Hey viewers, and welcome back to Exhaust Notes Australia. My name's Dan, and with me today is this very bright but very new entrant in the electric SUV market. This is the Deepal S07. There are a lot of people out there who think that Deepal has an Indian sounding name to it. It is in fact a Chinese company, a spin-off of Chang'an, which is based in Chongqing, a western Chinese city. Interestingly enough, the Chongqing skyline is imprinted into the front windscreen, and that city has a population of about 31 million people. That's more than all of Australia's 29 million. Now, I actually think that the S07 is quite a good looking SUV. It has somewhat concept car kind of vibes to it, and being an electric vehicle, it can retain those in production. Deepal have gone on to say on their website that it was designed in Turin, Italy, maybe just for a bit of extra cred. And you can kind of see that by the styling, they've certainly been paying attention in design class. But what do you think? Aside from the color, I have had people comment that it kind of looks like the previous generations of Hyundai Kona, some Lamborghini Urus even thrown in there, and I can kind of see that too. Certainly a head turner on the streets, many people stopping, looking, and I even overheard a person ask his partner, "What the is that?" So I think as a statement, the S07 is certainly up there. Up front, I might be reaching a bit, but this is where it looks the most like a Lamborghini Urus. Is very sharp styling of the headlights, very angular styling in the front bumper, and there's a lot going on with the lighting treatment here. That trichlor design is echoed in the rear, illuminate the future written in the headlight there too. We have quite a long bonnet here, but underneath there is a 125 litre frunk, which is great for putting your cables in, but there's a lot of other space in there as well, so it's pretty usable. The S07 has quite a nice and swooping side profile. Everything's quite flush, very aerodynamic looking. We have large mirrors with the indicators inside those, as well as the cameras for the 360 system. We can't quite work out what these on the front wings are for. They just stick out, but they don't seem to have any sensors or cameras installed within them. We figure these pods may serve a purpose in other markets. This cosmic yellow color, along with sunset orange, are an additional $880, while other shades like Comet White, Lunar Grey, Eclipse Black, Nebula Green, and Celestial Blue are available at no extra cost. The whole light bar illuminates at night, including the Deepal logo, and echoing Cooper a little bit. The rear lights also echo the triangular layout from the front, and the words "Illuminate the Future" are on the side. The third brake light evokes a fighter jet, or gives off vibes of a sailing ship of some sort, which all looks really cool, though we kind of wish they covered up the extra number plate mounting holes in the boot lid. There's nice black lines, privacy glass, and this is actually a window from the inside. Overall, the rear design is quite nice, even with this fake diffuser style thing, and there's brushed metal kind of appearance in the rear bumper as well as the side skirts. The wheels aren't anything too special, but on these 19s we have the Deepal logo again on the inside. They're very aerodynamic inspired. You can option up 20s for about $1,100 more, a slightly different design. Here in the front seat, it's really quite nice. There is a lot of room. The seats can go forward and back quite easily, lots of lumbar support too in the front. Very basic steering wheel, of course. The driver monitor sits there looking at you, but you do have a big heads-up display with augmented reality. Massive 15.6-inch screen here, which sunflowers towards you, or if there's only someone sitting in the passenger seat, it will angle towards them. It can all be set up. You can have it straight on if you like, if that's how you prefer, but it's quite a nice feature. I do like it angled slightly towards me. It just feels a little bit more encompassing that way. Nice touches in the doors, the wraparound. We've got the speakers here, the fake wood grain with all of the controls. A couple of stalks here and some buttons in the steering wheel, but it's very minimalist. And even with frameless doors front and back, inside is really comfortable, really quiet. The rear of the S07 isn't too bad for its size. Sitting behind this seat, which is in a more reclined position than I normally would sit, I still have legroom there. And in fact, I do have quite a bit of support for my thighs as well. There are some pockets in the rear seats here, should anyone use those anymore. And again, we have speakers in the doors here, some nice fake leather, very simple controls, a button to open the door, things like that. Privacy glass. There's a lot of headroom even with this massive glass roof. Don't feel claustrophobic at all back here. The one thing that might be a bit of a letdown is the air conditioning. It's not a third zone back here. Even though you do have controls, there's just one vent to share between the 3 occupants back here, and the controls here affect the air conditioning for the entire car. So if you change the temperature back here, you're changing it for the front occupants as well. There is control here to open and close the blind in the roof, and you can also adjust the passenger front seat from this control panel. There is also quite a large center armrest, which includes 2 shallow cup holders and a device pocket, but it's quite a big armrest, so it's definitely quite handy in that regard. Interestingly enough, they do also advertise ISO fix points for all 3 seats, and I guess that could be arranged given the positioning of the ISO fix coupling points. So you can give that a try. You definitely do have 3 tether points in the rear of each seat though. The Deepal S07 has an electric tailgate, which might hold the record for the world's slowest opening. Opens up to reveal 455 litres of space there, or 1385 with the rear seats down. It's quite a usable space. Underneath is a tyre repair kit, no spare wheel unfortunately, and ours does seem to be missing a rear cargo cover. Certainly is provision to have one though.
My name is Deepal. Why not introduce me, your smart assistant, to your friends?
And that's why I call it Deepal and not Deepal. You'll get a different introduction each time you get in the car. He'll tell you different things about itself.
My name is Deepal, a cute and talented little companion.
With regard to pricing, Deepal have placed the S07 at $58,521 drive away in Sydney. This kind of places it in the middle of the pack of its competitors. With this colour attached to it or the optional orange, it's $59,361. It is about $20,000 cheaper than the Toyota and Subaru options, but it is priced in amongst competitors like the Tesla Model Y and the Kia EV5, for example. So it hasn't got it all to itself, and there is a lot to be considered with everything else that is offered because there just is so much choice at the moment. I have to address the air conditioning. Even with this beautiful interior layout that's apparently inspired by Mediterranean yachts, they've kind of gone and hidden the air conditioning vents. There's a large one here underneath the screen, and there are at least 2, one on each side on the dash here, but you can't adjust their direction, and to go through the screen and alter their speed, it all seems to be blowing from the shoulder down. So on a super hot day, as you can tell by my face, I'm unable to direct the air upwards to help with cooling down that bit faster. Now the car does cool down eventually, but I just wonder if they could do something else there to help it cool down that bit quicker. Obviously closing the shade is going to help with that. I've got the GoPro mounted to the sunroof there, so we're just going to have to wing it and deal with it here. It is, as I said, it's quite hot today. That's just that little nitpick. But overall, this interior design is really nice, and it's kind of got that minimalistic feel. You have this massive 15.6-inch screen. It is its own personal computer. The processor and everything in this device is quite powerful because there's just so much going on. So this is one of those electric cars where you just get in the car and it's all ready to go. In fact, from hitting the unlock button, the car preconditions itself already, which is really handy on a hot day. It remembers your last setting. We have a couple of stalks. The left one is basically for your high beams and wipers. Your right one is your gear selector and to activate the cruise control. Everything else is kind of touchscreen. You've got a few buttons here on the steering wheel as well for your basic radio controls and some of your camera settings, volumes, things like that. Speakers all around, 14 speakers in here for a Sony entertainment system. It is very, very good. There are even speakers in the driver's seat. Look, the sound system is mega in here, so much so that it can even project outside when it's in entertainment mode. So one thing with such a large screen is that you're probably going to want to carry around a cloth with you because it is a heck of a fingerprint magnet, and I just like it to look a little bit clean. Now, as we're here, let's have a quick look through some of the menu items. It's obviously, being a large screen, there's a lot that you're able to do. The car menu brings up many of the different controls from your lighting, options for ambient lighting within the cabin, so at night time you can go through different colors and it will pulse that to the beat, or depending on the drive mode, all different options there. It's actually kind of cool. There are controls. This is where you can control your wiper, your rear wiper. There is a shortcut for it here, and your main wipers are through the stalk. You can open and close the sunshade here, but you do have physical buttons in the top as well. You can also open the tailgate. There is a shortcut for that as well. And then there's how the door handles and the locks can all react to your presence or the presence of the key. Many different options there. Cabin, this is where you can control the screen rotation. They call this the sunflower screen. And this pivot is actually fairly strong. So there's no worries about it getting damaged in any way there, thankfully. The cabin camera, which is mounted here, and what that records, whether it recognizes gestures, so you can take photos and things like that. This is running on a Qualcomm 8155, very powerful unit, has 12 gigs of memory and 128 gigs of storage, which will come in handy for all that dash cam footage. So you do have lots of shortcuts here for you, easy to get to things like setting your aircon temperature, recycle, which way the vents are blowing, ventilated seats for the passenger as well. If you hit on the fan, you'll get the larger climate control options there. So you can adjust the fan speed there, heated steering wheel, heated seats, all available here is in this menu, and it will go away after a short time. Then there are the apps. So your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all wirelessly connected, so seamless there. Just hit Android and it will come up fairly easily. You go back to the app screen, you have your nav, you have music. The car comes with preloaded music as well, and you can select these tracks to be used in your lighting show. Once you know your way around, there is so much you're able to do. You can access your files, anything stored on the local drive, and also you can check USB if you had one connected. The dash cam, of course, we can access that here. You can see what it sees, and you can go, that's all the dash cam footage it's been recording whilst I've had it, and even at night time. And do be aware that it is recording even the audio from inside the vehicle. All the inputs are being recorded, so you can see it here, what lights are on, whether the pedal's being depressed, whether the indicators are even on. A lot is being recorded here, which can be very good, but you just need to be aware of it. The scene mode has a bunch of different options. So say you're taking the car into a car wash, then it will lock the charging port, it will close the windows, stop the wipers from being activated, things like that. There's a smoking mode and a camping mode. What I'll show you now is season mode. So say it's a cold night and you want to warm yourself up, you can select bonfire. That will actually start heating the car up. You get this bonfire, you get the audio experience of the fire burning and crackling away. You can throw some more logs of wood on the fire. You can move your chair forward or back, and that will increase or decrease the amount of heat that's coming out of the air conditioning. And there's a couple of little bonuses. In this treasure chest, you can throw things on the fire, like fireworks, or my favorite, the petrol tank. Clearly the programmers were having some fun with this one. Now, it is hot today, so let's make a snowman. And here it's a similar thing, but it's just to cool you down instead. So you can bring your seats forward and you can make the snowman grow bigger by putting little icicles on it. But it's all just a bit of fun. The other scene mode is the nap mode. If you enable this, we'll be woken up in 20 minutes time, and it will engage birdsong. Your seat will recline and you can go and have a nap, and it'll wake you in 20 minutes. Apart from the sun in my face, that's actually quite nice. You can change the background sound to raindrops if that helps you a bit better, the seaside, or you can have that crackling bonfire once again. Just some really cool features all in here. Let's get out on the road, I think. Let me reduce that fan so that you can hear me again. We're in eco drive mode and we'll head out. Now, the suspension setup in the S07 is actually quite okay. It seems to soak up the bumps really well, and the speed humps back there really weren't any issue. It's smooth, but that doesn't seem to translate into some of the cornering. It's trying to transfer 2 tons around and sometimes can feel a little less composed in the bends. So when you get below about 40 k's an hour, the Deepal will actually play music out of the speakers, and I guess this is to alert pedestrians and others that you're kind of around so you don't sneak up on them all the time. There's a selection of 3 different musical choices that you can access through the menu. Seating position is pretty good, and there's so much adjustability in these front seats that you should be able to find a way to be comfortable without too much issue. Visibility around is also really good. You can see the front bonnet fairly well, so you know where the front of the car is. I just find this B pillar is maybe a little on the large side, so when you are checking that blind spot, just be aware of that. But there is a decent 360 camera system, and blind spot monitors are all working super well, so there shouldn't really be cause for concern, but it just depends what your driving habits and style is like. Yeah, and it really does like to have a go at you every now and then if it doesn't think you're paying enough attention. It's not too different to other cars, except that its sensitivity just seems to be that little bit higher. I was just looking through the corner at that particular point, and obviously my eyes weren't forward enough for it to think that I was paying attention to actually driving. Let's go to sport in the 70 zone and see. Just like any other electric car, it delivers you in relative ease there. And as soon as you hit eco, you'll feel the regen kick in again. It's definitely effortless, very smooth. Yeah, I really can't complain too much about it, if I'm honest. Power delivery is very, very nice, very linear. So with the 80 kilowatt hour battery, Deepal state that it should take about 35 minutes to charge from 30 to 80%, and that's because it's restricted to 92 kilowatts on the DC charge. They'll get about 475 kilometers WLTP. That's kind of on par with the competition, so it's certainly not lacking. The lane keep assist will vibrate if it feels you're getting too close to the lines. That has been a little bit annoying, as in a lot of cases its interpretation of where the line is hasn't been accurate. I mean, I've just been driving normally and I've never felt that I've wandered that far to the right or left in the lane, and it's been indicating that it feels that I have. So its lane centering could definitely do with some improvements. In eco mode, that's when the brake regeneration is the strongest. It doesn't stop the car, so it's not a full one pedal drive mode, but it does slow it quite substantially, like you really feel it. There is comfort mode. I found in that mode it's not too different, just the brake regen is a little less noticeable. Pulls away, it sort of gets away easy enough. Still kind of smooth. It's not rapid at all, but it's enough for getting around. To be honest, I'm not sure why you might choose between the two. I would leave it in eco. Then of course there's sport. That pretty much takes away any of the brake regeneration feel, so that you have all the power going into that rear motor, powering the rear wheels there. 160 kilowatts of power and 320 newton meters of torque. It's not a powerhouse against other EVs in its class. It's kind of middle running, but it's a good package. It gets along fairly well, and we've got a motorway ramp coming up, so let's see if we can have a decent run when we get to it. I mean, just on figures itself, it's about line ball with a Kia EV5 with slightly more torque, but it's not up there with things like the Zeekr X or even the Xpeng G6. We'll just wait for the green light into 100 zone. So Deepal quote the S07 will get to 100 in about 7.9 seconds. As I've said, that's not a rapid speed at all, but still it does give you that EV push when it comes to putting the accelerator down. And even these tires don't seem to have too much trouble. Yeah, it's a very, even in sport mode, that's just a very gradual acceleration there. That was not really pushing me back in the seat, but it got the job done. Okay, and now that we're on a motorway, I'll engage the cruise control, set it at 100. So on my augmented reality head-up display, it's detected the lane markings, so it knows where the car is positioned in the lane. As we get closer to other traffic, it will actually highlight them, letting you know where they are on the HUD. It's keeping us at 99 at the moment, so that's not too bad. There's your drive modes with a quick access. See, the more I'm using this, the more I'm learning about the car. There was the app for your energy flow. So when you bring that up, you can see here that the battery is powering the rear wheels, how much battery life is left. Obviously, when we're going on a downhill, that will reverse and you'll see that the wheels will be generating back into the battery. We do have two favorite buttons on the steering wheel, which are actually really handy, because when you hit those, you can actually see all the number of options that you can make them perform. But what Deepal have done is that they allow you to assign a short press and a long press. So effectively, that will give you 4 options for favorite functions, which I think is really, really good. Now, so what's happened there? Oh, I'm glad that's happened. It has accidentally picked up a 70 sign and it hit the brakes. And that's got to do with Sydney's motorways. It would have picked that up from the off-ramp, and it actually applied the brakes to slow us down to 70. Bad Deepal. Wow, but it did that. All right, that's clearly got to be a setting in the cruise pilot options there. Intelligent speed assist. Yeah. Turn you off, buddy. Okay, don't have that on. Let that be a lesson. But I do like the AR head-up display. It picks up the lanes, and it does pick up the cars around you as well. So it's detected those 2 cars ahead. I forget the exact numbers, but the front sensors do have quite a fair bit of range on them, and the rear obviously a little bit less, but is good for your rear parking. There's obviously a blind spot monitoring suite on board, and that's also quite clever in that it will pick up cars coming if you're parked and warn you not to open the door as they're coming past. So there's lots of little handy features like that. So what I was hoping with the Deepal S07, I'd seen a couple of reviews, and those reviewers had complained quite a fair bit about the driver monitoring system and how intrusive it is. I wanted to see it for myself, and I figured that perhaps as a reviewer, because we're going through all of these options and running them through, talking to you about them, and that's why they were experiencing the driver monitor kicking in and making such a fuss. But I have to say that the reason it's not kicking in now is the fact that I've turned all of those systems off. Now obviously it does restart every time you turn the car off and on again, and we found, unfortunately, that even in normal driving conditions, the alert monitor was extremely sensitive. Deepal have been quick to respond though, stating that an update will be rolled out to all S07 models soon so that you can avoid your drive sounding like this. Door handles, I mean, it feels... Okay, I'm trying to do a review. I'm speaking nicely about you. Oh man, see, there again, I was just looking through the corner, sitting side by side. Oh man, before, we'll look at in a sec. Yes. But also in there you can access things like, alright, I'm looking straight ahead, you dumb So hopefully that update will roll out quickly, or has already by the time this review has gone live. Deepal have also said the update won't affect the car's recently acquired 5-star ANCAP safety rating. You know, we can't be driving along looking straight ahead all the time. We need to check our blind spots. Sometimes you need to check on a passenger in the car, or you are just trying to find something within the system. So there have been a couple of times where I've been driving, or you've been looking through a bend to see where the road goes. That's just good driving habits. And the driver monitor is picking you up on that because your eyes are not straight ahead, your eyes are over there or wherever. There is also a possibility that using Hello Deepal to perform tasks and functions in the car will reduce your need to focus on the screen and that driver alert monitor going off. Here we are, we're on one of Sydney's motorways. It definitely hasn't got the best road surface, but it's doing quite well. It's nice and quiet in here, even with our frameless doors. We're doing all right. Deepal cover the S07 with a 7-year, 160,000 kilometer warranty, while 8 years and 240,000 kilometers covers the battery. There's 7 years of capped price servicing with intervals that are generous and recently updated 20,000 kilometers or every 12 months. But some of those visits, like the 3rd and 5th, are up around $700, which seems pricey for an EV. Ultimately, the S07 is a striking car to look at. It's actually nice to drive and has a fantastic cabin to sit in. We hope the over-the-air updates are successful in reining in the overbearing safety systems. So, as I said at the start, the S07 is perhaps subjectively a pretty good looking car, but there has to be more to it than that. Can you put up with the driver monitoring systems? The servicing costs, how do they compare? And they do seem to be a little on the high side for an electric vehicle. While there is a 7-year warranty, the fact it's limited to 160,000 kilometers might be something to weigh on your mind. It would have been nice if it was unlimited. And being a new entrant, there is a very limited support network at the moment, with only a couple of showrooms in Sydney and Melbourne, one in Adelaide, one in Perth, and one coming for Brisbane. These are all things you'll need to consider, even though you might actually quite like the car. Is there enough here to make you want the S07? Or are there some other competitors that you might be thinking of instead? Let me know in the comments below. I'd like to hear what you think. Anyway, a big thank you to Deepal for letting us have their brand new S07. I'm kind of a fan. It's almost there. They can just do a few more things. They could have a winner on their hands. Thanks to Exhaust Notes Australia for the opportunity to review it, and a big thanks to you for watching this review. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.